Hello EFD squad and welcome back to the Euro Roundup where you pick our winners and losers from the game week just past. It's me, it's Patrick, it's the bloody continent. And you know, before it all goes awry, let's say, WW3 pending, let's talk about Lazio and why they have prevailed. Why Lazy Hobbit thinks they should kick the show off.
Well, Ciro Immobile is obviously having a great season, but Lazio are as well. Immobile got a brace in a 2-1 win over Brescia at the weekend, his second coming in the 91st minute to seal that victory. And there have been a few of those recently. This is actually their 9th straight win in Serie A, taking them up to 3rd in the table, just 3 points off joint leaders Inter Milan and Juventus. Now, Inzaghi's men have scored at least 2 goals in all of those 9 victories, and they've got 40 overall. That's a figure only topped by Atalanta on 43 in the division. In fact, currently scoring an average of 2.4 goals a game. That's not far off Liverpool's tally of 2.5.
Simone Inzaghi, baby.
In the Premier League.
We've been saying for a long, long time. He's deserving of a big club, bigger club.
Yeah, he's doing an amazing job this season, but it wasn't all roses for Lazio. Their fans actually forced the stadium announcer into making an announcement telling them not to sing discriminatory songs because they were targeting players with racist abuse. And Brescia striker Mario Balotelli, who actually opened the scoring in the 18th minute. That was the first goal in a new decade of Italian football and the second time he's done that, interestingly enough. He actually wrote on Instagram afterwards saying, "Lazio fans present in the stadium today, shame on you. # say no to racism." So a lot of work still to be done, well, in football and in Italian football specifically.
So on the pitch, going through, you know, tremendous times, but overshadowed by what's happening off of it. So well done, Lazio fans, completely, creators of your own downfall there. Brescia, meanwhile, continue to struggle. They've only won 4 of their 18 games so far and currently occupy 18th position, 1 point off Lecce and Sampdoria, who both have a game in hand. Of course, some teams have played 18 games, some teams have played 17. Pretty unlucky, though, over the course of those 18 games. Only scored 16 goals, which is the 4th worst record, but expected goals actually suggest they should have scored 21, which would lead, in a roundabout way, to a 6-point swing and a 14th place, according to expected points. So they're doing enough to survive right now, but not really getting the rub of the green. Eugenio Corini's side were well beaten in this game, though. Lazio have been extremely impressive. Played some great combination football in this game, thoroughly deserving of their victory. Lovely kit as well to boot. They only had 37% Brescia and 6 shots, with 3 coming on target, in comparison to Lazio's 19, with 6 of those testing the goalkeeper. Key performers in this fixture: 31-year-old Lazio centre-back Francesco Acerbi, a 91% pass accuracy, 4 tackles and interceptions as well. So he kept Mario Balotelli at bay. Although for that first goal that you mentioned, he uses his body exquisitely. You should go and watch that goal. It's really intelligent play. Milinkovic-Savic continues his good form as well. Just 1 interception, so not massive on the defensive end, but when he's occupying that space in between the midfield and the attack, he's a very useful focal point. There's only 5 aerial duels won in this game, 2 key passes and 3 shots. So very productive going forward. Man of the match, though, like Pat mentioned, Ciro Immobile. He's now finished as Serie A's top goal scorer for a calendar year 3 times. Only one guy has done it 4 times. That's crazy, 3 times. I think it's the last 3 years as well. 2 aerial duels in this game, 1 dribble, 1 key pass, 5 shots, 2 goals. He now has 19 league goals this season. No one has scored more in Europe's top 5 leagues, level with Lewandowski now. Incredible stuff from him. Can Lazio do the unthinkable? Everyone's talking about Inter Milan and Conte really coming in and ruffling Juve's feathers. Can it in fact be Simone, Inzaghi and co? Let us know in the comments below.
We stay in Italy for our first losers of the week. This comes from @Jaffuli Charlie, and it's the other side of Rome. Roma enduring a difficult evening against Torino.
Yeah, so this was the first game back in Serie A after that short winter break, and it did not go the Romans' way, losing out 2-0 to Torino, to Walter Mazzari's men, who were in the bottom half of the table actually prior to this fixture, before picking up 3 points at the Stadio Olimpico. And now, despite producing 31 shots, 14 more than Roma normally average per 90. The Giallorossi only tested Sirigu, the visiting keeper, 7 times, and most of them were pretty rudimentary saves, although there was one quite early doors from Pellegrini, which was outstanding. And on the subject of incredible saves, Pau Lopez made an extraordinary one against Belotti, sort of in the similar period in the first half, maybe the first half of the first half, palming it onto the post low down. Now, this is the first time that Roma have taken 30 plus shots and failed to win a game in a match since Opta started gathering data in 2004-2005. And the eventual XG was 1.9 to 2.3 in Torino's favour. So while Torino deserved to win, Roma probably should have scored in this game. Pellegrini continued to be Roma's main attacking threat after coming close, taking 8 shots in total, although half of them were from outside of the box as Roma sort of became increasingly desperate in front of an expectant home crowd. Edin Dzeko leading the side for expected goals and assists per 90 on 0.64 this season. He was uncharacteristically wasteful, pretty ineffective, did manage to carve out 5 shots inside the box, but 3 of them were blocked, 1 of them was off target. So not great from close quarters. And after this, this is their first defeat in 5 games. It means that Atalanta can go 1 point within them for that last Champions League spot if they win their game in hand. So no doubt Paulo Fonseca, really would have wanted to put daylight between him and Gasparini's men in this fixture, and it wasn't to be, largely because of one man, right?
Yeah, Andrea Belotti, who obviously we knew a few years ago when he was being linked for a hugely inflated price. He got his 8th of the season in this game, the first one. From the left-hand side, 18 yards out, absolutely rocketed in from the 26-year-old. He's now 1 goal away from matching his total from 2 seasons ago after 15 starts. And he's 6 away from last year's total of 15. Now, obviously, that just kind of makes him like a decent striker, but in this match he played like a world beater. Current XG and XA per 90 of 0.71. His peak was back in 16-17, 0.75 when he got 26 league goals. But it wasn't just his ability to create chances or get on the end of them, which was impressive in this match. He also pulled out to the left-hand side, won 6 aerial duels, which is almost twice his average per 90. He did get 7 shots away, all in the box, with 4 of them testing the keeper. Given that he averages about 3 a game this season, that obviously shows that he was really, really at the races. And then his 9th of the season, later on in the match, came via the spot. But he should also take credit for creating it. The penalty was conceded by Chris Smalling. He blocked Belotti's shot and then got up and kind of, as he turned around, palmed the ball away or slapped the ball away and gave away the pen. Anyway, great night for Belotti, and Torino's first away win against Roma in Serie A since 2007 lifts them into the top half of the table as they look to match last season's 6th place finish. But what will the Champions League spots end up looking like in Italy? Let us know in the comments below.
Rounding off our winners section is Real Madrid, and this comes from Thompson Kieran. They've been playing bloody well of late, haven't they?
Yeah, and they're level on points with Barcelona now after beating City rivals Getafe 3-0. Now Zidane will be delighted to get 3 points on the board. They've had 3 draws in a row recently and failed to score more than 1 goal in each of those games, so they really needed a big win. And early on in the match, both keepers were called into action. First, Courtois made a great save, but then Getafe keeper David Soria made a horrible error. Under pressure from Rafael Varane, he kind of deflected the ball into his own goal. And
he
Varane
scored with his thoracic, mate. It was like bang. It was awful.
His what?
Thoracic spine.
Yeah.
Wherever that is. Yeah, it just
It's
came
the
off
spine that's in your thorax.
Came off his hump.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of chiropractor videos.
What is going on?
They're so good.
All right.
Anyway, back to the game.
Yeah, well, Rafael Varane was really the star early doors. He got himself on the score sheet after that, and then the 3rd goal came from Luka Modric in stoppage time to secure the 3 points in style. Now, it's actually quite a difficult place to go, Getafe. They're up in 7th at the moment, and this is just the 2nd time they've lost at home this season. Plus, of course, the clean sheet, 10th clean sheet for Real Madrid of the campaign so far. That equals their best defensive record in 32 years, they've conceded just 12 goals in 19 games. Really, really impressive stuff. And you're kind of going to need to make those margins count if you're going to beat Barcelona for the title.
Yeah, you talk about margins there. One easy area for improvement was Thibaut Courtois.
I mean, dreadful.
After conceding 6 goals and only making 7 stops from 13 shots in the first 4 league games, he's now subsequently conceded just 3, making 27 saves from 30 shots in the following 12 matches. So he's got his act together, and I'm sure the Real Madrid fans will get off his back for the time being. Like Pat said, Real Madrid earning their 3rd consecutive clean sheet in this game, and have man of the match Varane as well to thank for not a spectacular performance, but pretty darn solid. He had a hand in 2 goals, he scored a goal, he recorded 2 interceptions and made 9 clearances as well, making it pretty hard for Getafe to break them down. Eder Militao, who's stepping in for the suspended Sergio Ramos, also put in a pretty good performance as well, recorded 6 tackles and interceptions and 7 clearances, enabling Varane to go and express himself a little bit more out of that centre-back pairing, perhaps. It was also nice to see Gareth Bale enjoying his football again, taking 3 shots, completing 3 dribbles, should have scored a goal, rounded the goalkeeper. The Getafe keeper kind of making amends for that mistake by keeping out Gareth Bale's certain goal. He also had a hand in Modric's late goal as well, which was... who was it set up by? Oh, it's escaping me now, but it was a very nicely weighted pass straight into Modric's stride, and he managed to score with his first touch. Getafe will be annoyed they didn't score at least 1 goal, I guess, after registering 15 shots to Real Madrid's 9. That's pretty porous for Real Madrid's normal standards, isn't it? They don't really concede that many shots.
Well, yeah, like the Courtois thing, you could say 30 shots that he's faced in 12 matches. That's 2.5 shots on target a game. That's really few.
Yeah, that's pretty tight, isn't it? It's not something we've really associated with Zidane and Real Madrid maybe in times gone by, which maybe intimates a little style change on his behalf, because he does seem much more complete this time round, Zidane.
Well, I think they've changed quite a lot, like by bringing in Valverde in the midfield. This is kind of what they could have done with Ceballos in the past. And weirdly, they've got a much less talented guy there now in Valverde. But obviously, Zidane thinks that he can give them the balance. And it seems like they've realised you can't just run out a bunch of midfielders who aren't going to defend anymore.
I mean, it's not really been in Isco or James Rodriguez's favour, has it? But the team as a whole, for sure. Joint top of La Liga then. So who will prevail? Let us know in the comments below.
Second and final losers are Barcelona. This comes from @Janis30FYL. This sounds pretty funny.
I thought that was Janice then, as in a woman's name. I was like, holy
Technically,
cow.
I suppose we should say like Yanis.
A woman has sent it. Janice from Friends, yeah?
Yeah,
Iconic
I
character.
understand the reference.
I watched a lot of Friends over Christmas. What did you watch a lot of? Because it's just
Not
easily
Friends, I hate
digestible,
it.
isn't it?
It's terrible.
Easily digestible. Anyway, yeah, Barcelona drew 2-2 with 20th placed Espanyol, bottom of La Liga. I didn't realise it had got that bad.
Pretty bad.
In Barcelona. A team that had scored just 10 goals from 19 games before this match. David Lopez opening the scoring for Espanyol by flicking on a free kick. Then the veteran defensive midfielder, the veteran defensive midfielder's first goal since May 20th, 2018. And then an unbelievable genuinely unbelievable whipped assist from Jordi Alba, his first in 1920, surprisingly, in all competitions due to successive injury problems. Was met by the deft finish of Luis Suarez, who poked the ball home before turning provider for a powerful header from Arturo Vidal. The 32-year-old has now been involved in Barcelona's last 10 goals. This is Luis Suarez. He has 7 assists as well in total, and 1 more assist than the entirety of last campaign, despite playing 16 games fewer. Barcelona looked on course for a routine win before Frenkie de Jong was dismissed for a second yellow, denying Espanyol a counter-attack. Espanyol went on to have 5 attempts post the Dutchman's sending off. They only had 2 in the 73 minutes prior. Shows how important he is at shielding that back four now. He's the legs in that midfield, isn't he? And then Chinese superstar Wu Lei, the man whose debut was witnessed by 25 million Chinese viewers in 2018, found that much space to secure Espanyol's 5th draw of this season, Pat. So a huge goal in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Can you now tell us about how bad Barcelona were?
Yeah, Barcelona were pretty bad. Lionel Messi didn't score or assist, which is obviously unusual for him. In fact, it's only the third time this league campaign he's not registered a goal contribution in a match.
Isn't it?
They haven't won any of the games in which he hasn't contributed. He did complete 6 dribbles, though, which is pretty hilarious. Actually, Luis Suarez completed 4 dribbles, and he had 5 shots, 3 on target, 1 key pass, which obviously resulted in the goal. 86% pass accuracy, which is obscene for a forward, and 1.29 xG, 0.46 expected assists, topping both categories in this game.
Wow, he was on song then, wasn't
he? He created more than the entire Espanyol lineup. It's pretty amazing, really.
And his form has been patchy this season, but I suppose kind of putting in a 90 minutes like that, is that going to dissuade them from signing more attacking reinforcements in Jan, as has been linked?
I don't know. I mean, like they're fantastically badly run and stupid, so like it's entirely possible. But they're never going to do the intelligent thing because they're Barcelona. So they should have sacked Valverde. They didn't. They shouldn't have signed Griezmann. They did. Like they should have figured out how they were going to actually run this midfield. They didn't. They're a bunch of fucking idiots. Like even in this game, they took off Griezmann and brought on Nelson Semedo to shore things up. Allowed 5 shots in the last 15 minutes from a team that's bottom of the league and managed to concede the equaliser. They are still somehow top on goal difference because the head-to-head record with Real Madrid, that was a draw, so it goes to goal difference next. But they've only won 2 of their last 5 games, as have Madrid. So it feels like it's a little bit like the Premier League where nobody wants to actually be good. I don't really understand what's happening.
It's like the current state of heavyweight boxing, when you're like, this guy's competing for a title, but I've never heard of him.
Who cares? Boxing's embarrassing. Anyway, next up, they've got Granada, who they lost 2-0 to in the reverse fixture, which is pretty funny as well. Well, Espanyol have got Villarreal, which could be a bloodbath. Santi Cazorla scored again this week.
Legend.
So anyway...
Go and watch FDPL, by the way, if you're from Britain.
Should be fun. This week, our star of the week is actually stars of the week. We've got a whole team for you. Saint-Pierroise. Now, this is because in the Coupe de France, teams from basically every division at every level of play will compete. So there are teams from like the 8th division who are playing this weekend and got battered, unsurprisingly. Lyon won 7-0. But Saint-Pierroise, who are from Réunion, which is in the Indian Ocean, it's actually right by Mauritius, were playing this week against Ligue 2 side Niort. And in the 9th round of the Coupe de France, they went through winning 2-1. The 9th round. This is the round.
How many rounds are there?
This is the 9th round. I believe this is the round of 64.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that mental? The round of 64.
That's crazy. This feels like Football Mondial in like circa 2017.
Do you want to hear some more crazy stuff? Now, obviously, because it's Réunion, they've had Dimitri Payet play for them, famously from Réunion. They've also had Guillaume Roiro, who you might remember, he played for PSG years ago. But currently, former Premier League player Elliot Grandin, who played for Blackpool and Palace, is turning out for them. Played 90 minutes in this match. Imagine living in Croydon, living in Blackpool, and then thinking, fuck this. I'm going to move to Réunion, which is basically known for Dimitri Payet and sharks and surfing. I'm going to move there. And then you've ended up in the whatever round it is of the Coupe de France now.
And they say that English players, don't have broad horizons.
I don't know.
Don't get out there enough.
Who knows?
Elliot Grandin. Elliot's pretty English sounding. I feel the need to clarify my British comment now because
You're
my FD.
Just to clarify, Chris Hamill is.
My FDPL plug. Obviously, only people from Great Britain can watch the show because that's where our rights extend to.
Because you don't want other people to watch it. They'll make it dirty.
It sounded very EDL, sat here in my tack vest. Yeah. Just like, if you're from Britain, watch our latest content. That's not what I'm like. Well, can we end this section?
It's a bit what you're like.
Have I really got to read this out?
No, you just sit there and be quiet then. Why don't you just sit there and like sharpen your Bowie knife or whatever you've got?
Don't need to sharpen your tongue, do we?
Yeah, good one. Congratulations to Saint-Pierroise, well done. 100 fans made the 6,000-mile journey to France for this particular match. I doubt that they will be doing the next one, though apparently they could play Bordeaux or Marseille. Marseille went to pens against a side from the 4th division.
Lovely.
Imagine that.
So, I mean, Villas Boas.
The 10th round.
Okay.
You get to the 10th round and there are still people from just like a pub side from an island. It's ridiculous.
So that's all we have time for on this week's Euro Roundup. Hope you enjoyed that little bit of, whatever that was at the end of the show. Pat, you look like you're about to burp.
No, I'm just
stretching.
Stretch.
All right, hard work on set. So what should people go and watch next if they enjoyed this show?
If they enjoyed this show, watch anything. You'll be satisfied with any old. This was awful.
Bye.
Bye.